Hey everybody, welcome to a 20-something's kitchen. So what are we going to be cooking up today? Today we are going to be making an almond cake. And this can be used for birthdays, tailgatings, or if you're like me, you have the itch to bake, but you don't want to go outside and see human beings and buy ingredients. This is all stuff that I already have in my house. It's just the process of putting it together. So the first thing we're going to do is melt 1 stick of butter. As Paula taught us all, life is a lot better with butter. Oh, it's so pretty. It's golden like my hair. Perfect. We're just going to cut this so it's in the 1 stick. And one thing I like to do when I bake too, as you'll probably notice, is that I do have a mat down. And the reason for this is that it just makes cleanup a lot easier. That way I don't have to scrub down the countertops, use the Lysol. It's just that much easier. So what I'm doing here is just cutting up the sticks of butter, and that helps it melt down a little bit. So next, we're going to take this to the microwave and let it go for about 30 seconds at a time until it's melted. So where did I get this recipe from? Many of you know that I do like finding recipes on Pinterest, hearing it from my friends' parents, my grandparents, any place online. If there's a recipe, I will find it and I will try to cook it up. So this almond cake is amazing. It's always good whenever I have a hankering to run to a cafe and buy something. I can just say, Amanda, you have the ingredients at home, you just have to take the time to make it up. So I'm just going to put the butter away quick. Sounds like that is ready for me. We'll just check in on it. So it's getting there. Probably needs about 30 more seconds or so. So like I was saying, I like to try out different recipes, and this one actually comes from my Grandma Shizzle. Yes, that is her last name, and we should probably be getting royalties from Snoop Dogg, but that's a completely different story. So, as the butter's going, once that's done, we're actually going to be adding eggs to it, but what we want to make sure is that we're not adding the eggs in right away because we don't want the eggs to cook into scramble, because that would be actually disgusting inside of a cake. So, the butter's done, and we'll just set it aside a little bit to cool down. Perfect that. Perfect that. Perfect look at that. When I don't want to form proper English sentences. So just stir it around to make sure everything's mixed in there. And this will help cool it off a little bit as well. In case you want to see. Oh, look at that water flow. If only Niagara Falls looked like that. Perfect. So next, we're going to be mixing together our dry ingredients, and it's going to be equal parts sugar and flour. A lot of TV shows and recipes, you'll see them saying, sift the flour, sift the flour. So why do we need to sift flour? The reason we need to sift it is because flour can sometimes stick together, and when you're baking, you really do want to be precise. So since I don't have a sifter, what I do is get in there, have the cup loosen up the flour a little bit. That helps. Perfect. And then just level it off. And we'll dump the 1 cup of flour into the bowl. Set that aside. And then next, the 1 cup of sugar. So I must say, tailgating is one of my favorite parts of the year. And since moving to Canada, I haven't been able to go back home for a Hawkeyes game. Go Iowa Hawkeyes. So I pretend to have my own little tailgating parties here. But they don't consist of keg stands and little weenies. They just consist of cake and tea. Oh, how old I have grown. So we'll set the sugar aside to give us a little more space. And then for this, we're just going to give it a little mix together here. Let all the ingredients meet and say, hey, I've come to the party. The flour says welcome. Perfect. We'll set that aside. And then we'll check in again on our butter here. Perfect. So we'll give that about another minute or so. Hands off here. Okay, perfect. So then to the flour, we're going to add some almond extract. And actually, I just got a new bottle today, so I'm gonna bust this open here, show off my super strong muscles. Perfect. We're gonna need 2 teaspoons. Oh, beautiful. 1, 2, perfect. So we'll just whisk that together. Yeah, I'm very proud of my whisk. I used to just have a fork, but I'm moving up in the world, so I was like, why not get myself a whisk? Makes things so much easier when you're cooking too. Perfect. So now the 3 ingredients are in there. And next, we're going to start adding the eggs to the butter. And for this, we're just going to add 1 egg at a time. Pop that bad boy right in there. Give this a mix. Perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and put the second one in. I must say, I hate to brag and I hate to boast, but Iowa Hawkeyes are doing pretty good this year. 6-0 currently, which is awesome. Set that aside. Bring this bowl back. Wipe off my hands here. All right. And now it's time for our ingredients to meet each other. The eggs and the butter, we're just going to pour right in to the flour mixture here. Side. Take our whisk again. And just pour this all together. It's going to have this gorgeous yellow color that I'll show you here in a second. And you can just smell that almond, that smell of almond and butter. Oh, gosh. I wish I could just use this as like a body mask one night. Maybe I will. So we're going to look at it. There it is. I don't know if you can really see it with this lighting, but oh, amazing. So we're just going to give this a really good whisk together. We want to eliminate any clumps that could be in there. All right, and the batter is good to go. So you'll see it just runny and perfect. And for this recipe, you can put it either in a pie pan or a cake pan. I like to do it in the pie because it gives it a little je ne sais quoi, but pie pans work too. Now the original recipe doesn't call for you to spray down the pan, but every time I don't spray a pan and I bake a cake, it all goes to hell. And we're going to preheat the oven. I should have told you this. We're going to preheat the oven to 325. That's what you're going to be cooking the cake at for about 45 minutes. So let's spray our pan. And what I do is I spray my pan over my sink. That is just one more thing that eliminates me having to wipe down the countertops. Give it a good spray there. And then we're just going to get our mixture and pour it into the cake pan. Just a little scrape. We're just going to get it in there. This is going to be so delicious. This is one of those cakes that literally when it comes out of the oven, I have to control myself because I could eat the entire thing. And I don't think I have enough time to work out as much as this is calorie dense, so perfect. If you're making it, make sure you are sharing with somebody else. So we'll just spread it out evenly here. Beautiful. So we'll put all of our dirty dishes aside. And next, slivered almonds. These are something that I always have around the house. I put them in my oatmeal, on top of yogurt, on top of cakes. Just put them in your hand. And we'll sprinkle them around. They are untoasted. And you could toast them beforehand, but since they're going to be going in the oven, they'll toast up in there and you'll be fine. Totally your preference. So yeah, about a handful. When it comes to measuring nuts over cake, I'm not really, here's half a cup or here's a fourth cup. I'm just like, nuts to your preference. Let's do a couple more here. Perfect. And this is going to go into the oven for 45 minutes, and I'll meet you back here so we can taste it. So that had to be the longest 45-minute baking period of my life. Just smelling the cake in my house was driving me nuts, and then the fact that I had to let it cool for about 10 to 15 minutes might have been worse. So I've gone ahead and cut the cake, and since it is in a pie pan, you'll notice that the slices look like little pizzas. I'll show you here. The cake is perfect. So it's about 1 inch high, and you'll see that it has the golden ring around and that the almonds have crisped up ever so slightly. This isn't meant to be a sky-high cake, it's just meant to be a delicious cake. And some alterations too, if you'd like, rip myself off a piece here, is that you can add powdered sugar after it's cooled down, but make sure you don't add it while it's warm because the powdered sugar may melt within the cake and you won't get to see the gorgeous white on top of it. If you guys do decide to make this, like I said, for a tailgate, a birthday party, a special event, I would love to know. Also, if you make any alterations, please let me know too, because I'm always looking to improve my cooking skills. Bon appetit, and I'll catch you guys later.